Welcome everybody, I hope you're having a great day. This is Shorman90, and this is how you figure out the specialties of your characters using the museum, which is like their strategy guide built into the game. There's portrait, library, and gallery that we've gone over, and then in combat lessons, this is where it's at. Here's the universal strategies that are taught very early on in the little bit of the story mode that I did play. Taught a lot of this. Don't know if it taught it all though. But we can go over that in another video if that's what you want to do. But let's just look at Cassandra's. Once again, it's in order, so she's at the very bottom of DLC release. There's a good amount here, so let's just get started. Fighting styles. Athenian style is an extremely powerful fighting style that utilizes a shield and a sword blessed by the gods. Some practitioners like to use it as an aggressive way and get close to their opponent. The light armor allows one to approach their opponent quickly and strike them forcibly with their sword and even their shield, making it the perfect style for claiming victory in one fell swoop. Tactics such as the shield throw allow for continuous offense even from a distance. Yeah, that new shield throw, because I don't remember her having that in any other game, is really awesome. Hopefully it'll really help bridge the distance gap, which was very difficult for her to do. At least from my understanding of the character. Because yeah, I know in this game, Sophia has some counters, but SoulCalibur 4, Cassandra did not for that. So it looks like they added that, which hopefully help her a lot. On top of that, a technique known as Holy Smite can be used to boost the divine power in the wielder's sword and shield, creating a lightning or whirlwind so destructive that no one on the receiving end can walk away unscathed. That is definitely new. I do not remember ever having that crap before. Hopefully it is good. Style lesson beginner. So here's the beginner. If you're new to the game, this is stuff you want to see. Although honestly, as long as you just keep pressing the buttons and going for it, you'll probably clear its normal difficulty, no problem. As long as you're aggressive, constantly heading towards your enemy, and just mixing up the attacks, doing just A, B, and K. Dealing major damage at close range, Cassandra fights best up close, where it is easiest to land some of her most powerful attacks. Stop your opponent in their tracks with a twin buster, a forward AA, or an undertow, a diagonal down left A. Then follow up with a heaven lift, forward diagonal down B, and an Argus drive, or a similar technique. Forward diagonal down B launches the opponent into the air, after which you can quickly unleash something like a double meteor forward BB for additional damage. When forward K lands as a counter hit, you'll shift the Titanic struggle and climb onto the opponent. So get ready to unleash a Cyberclops hammer during the Titanic struggle, A, B, or K. Or a Cyclops drop during the Titanic struggle, back A, B, or K. Okay, now, this is, well, you have A here, which is square, or it would be X if you're using Xbox. I'm using the PlayStation 3 controller through on Microsoft Windows 8.1 through an emulator, so it will look like Windows stuff when I'm actually using the PlayStation controller. So A, which is horizontal, is square or X, if you're depending on which controller you're using. B is a vertical attack, which is triangle or Y, if you are using a PlayStation or Xbox controller. And then K is for kick, which that's easy. Which those can be verticals or horizontals, depending on the move. And that can be done with circle or square on Xbox. Okay, now we're on to the second half of the style lesson beginning. Use Divine Force to unleash powerful attacks. You can shift into a state called Divine Force to unleash the power of your sword and shield after landing a Cyclops hammer. During Titanic Struggle, A, B, or K, a Centaur Smash, forward A plus B, which works well against opponents in the middle of an 8-way run, or a Meteor Shower, forward back, then A plus G. G is guard, which would be A, or also A if you're on Xbox, or X if you're on PlayStation. So X if you're on PlayStation, A if you're on Xbox, and that's what G is, which is G for guard, which is effective against an opponent's standing guard. I don't know why it shoots up when I go down, that's interesting. During Divine Force, you have access to Holy Smite, a powerful move that deals massive damage if it hits, and will deal some damage even if the opponent's even if the opponent guards. Or does damage even if the opponent guards. That's really good, actually. Yeah, that's a new thing in SoulCalibur 6. Which is kind of neat. I mean, you can't die from it like other fighting games. At close range, at close range, Chronos Punisher, during Divine Force, forward BA plus B serves as an easy-to-use Holy Smite, dealing a large amount of damage. Performing Holy Smite cancels Divine Force, so make sure you know exactly when to use Holy Smite is key to victory. Wow. They definitely made her a more complex character. Which is very interesting, because I kind of liked how basic she was before. She's just like an offensive Cassandra, but I can see offensive version of Sophia, but I can see why they gave her a little more pizzazz. It makes it more unique. Okay, this is less than Adept, which is higher than Beginner. It's moderate skill level. Getting close from a distance. From long range, you can use Angel Snipe. Forward, down, or hold. Forward, down, hold forward, down, or forward, hold forward, or up, right, or up towards, right or towards. And then hold version A. So it's diagonal down, hold diagonal down, right or left depending on where they are. So towards them. One hit and then hold, and the hold is holding it down. That's why I say hold, because you do it and then you keep it in that direction. That's how it works. Or you do diagonal up, hold diagonal up, and it's around a second for that to kick in, or it might be a little before that. I haven't timed it in this game, but it's generally around that. It's generally when a human has a reaction time to do an attack after you hold, and you'll see your animation character switch, which I can show some of that in training mode. And you'll be seeing it as I do the moves. This training mode shows all the moves that you're inputting. And it may be a little confusing as I'll input them faster than the game reads sometimes, but that's okay. I just will need to learn to tone it back for certain moves, my actual input speed. Which is useful, okay, so the Angel Snipe, which is useful against opponents in the middle of an 8-way run or Raging Splash. So when they're in the 8-way run, we do that, or Raging Splash, which is the same inputs, but rather than hitting horizontal, we hit BB, which is vertical, which moves you forward a great distance. So I remember, I'll have to see what these actually look like, because they may have moved the inputs for some of these moves. But I didn't have like, well, the Surfing Kick, that one I remember its name, but most of these I didn't remember its name. It's been over 10 years since I played her. Elfin Orbit, which I call this a reverse angel step, because that's the reverse order of the input. You do it away. It's back, down, down. Yeah, it's back, it's down, away from them, diagonal down, and then away from them, A. And I say that because when you switch sides, it will also reverse all these inputs. So that's what I'm saying, away or toward. And then you do your A, which would then even be square or X if you're on Xbox. Both strengths of the two moves above, but cost guard stamina to use. That's very interesting. Excessive use will therefore leave you vulnerable to a guard crush, which is quite powerful in this game because this game has supers. So when you're guard crushed, you can't block or move, and you're open to like a full combo or whatever, or super. Like, yeah, it's quite bad. It doesn't happen a whole lot, but it can happen at least once per match if you're really going at it against each other. I'm gonna have to be careful. I may actually have to think about my guard gauge against the AI as Cassandra. Because most of the time it's talking, it does not wear out on me. And you can impact or whatever to increase that, your block gauge, or just not take damage for X amount of time. Generally will also make it go up. Okay. We're on the second half of Style Lesson Adept. Moves that consume guard stamina. Wow. She just has whole moves to consume the guard stamina. That's very interesting. It's not only Elfin Orbit, which is the move we just talked about, which is the down, back, away A, that reduces your guard stamina. Some of Cassandra's other moves do too, and are just as powerful. Angel Discus, which is back, away, A, B, together, which is left bumper. Or at least the default is left bumper for this game. Involves throwing your shield and dragging your opponent in from a distance. It is a useful... Yeah, I don't even think she had this before. It is a useful as means of closing distance, and it's easy to land an 8-way run. It also reduces your guard stamina because the shields are traditionally not used for offense. Seraphim Kick, which is back down A, away, diagonal down, away, down. And then you just reverse that. So it'd be down, diagonal down, back, kick. And then Angel Step would be the first thing I said. Kick version of it. Allows you to take action quicker. So that was a little confusing, sorry about that. It's down, back, up, down, diagonal down, back, K. It's really hard to say. That's why most people don't voice that. But I'm going to voice it in case you can't see it or hear. Just for the blind viewers. Allows you to take action quicker, and that will feel like a roll. If you are blind, it'll feel like a down, diagonal down, and then over. It'll feel like you're rolling the move. Allows you to take action quicker than your enemy after guarding. And blind people do play fighting games. It's one of the games they can actually play. I have played SoulCalibur when I was young, SoulCalibur 2. I would play blind matches and see if I could win. I also could win with my feet. It's freaking hilarious. Giving you the upper hand to attack. And I could do that against the normal AI, maybe even higher, I don't recall. Although it does deplete your guard stamina. And if people really want to see me do those challenges, I might do those too. Although I need like a camera to show that I wasn't actually cheating it, so yeah. Not that I would, but I know how YouTube is. The little cues. Anyway, let's get back on track. Recovering guard stamina. Using Holy Smite, which is available during Divine Force and will restore your guard stamina. So that's how we get our guard stamina back after we're depleting it. That's most likely very important because the AI, especially at higher levels, will try to guard crush us. Especially if we start impacting. On Legendary difficulty, they will try to exploit that like crazy because a guard crush cannot be impacted. If you find yourself using moves such as Elfin Orbit, which is the one we talked about, it's going down, away diagonal, and then back away, and then hitting square or the middle left one if you're blind. It's the middle left one, which is you're doing a horizontal, although if you're blind you won't exactly understand that, but you'll hear it and figure it out. It's doing a horizontal attack. And someone could actually move your arm if you don't know what that means. It's moving it sideways rather than moving it up. Up is vertical. sideways, like right or left, is horizontal, and up and down is vertical. Very often, be smart and switch over to Divine Force, followed by Smite. So yeah, so it's telling us to switch to try to build up our gauge so we don't keep doing the same move. So let's go over to Master now. And it'll probably finish up this video, and then I'll talk about critical edges and soul charging in the next one. Using Holy Smite effectively. As outlined in the beginner's guide, Holy Smite gives you access to various powerful moves, including but not limited to Karen's Punisher during Divine Force, which is toward opponent B A+B. Unfortunately, a number of moves will leave you wide open if you should miss, so make sure to get sufficient practice with them. Yeah, I do remember that with Cassandra. Which was high risk, high reward. Which was very much my playstyle. Boreas Wings during Divine Force, down B plus AB launches the opponent into the air, allowing you to land more hits. But when the first attack is a normal hit, the opponent can guard against it partway through. Down B will only launch an opponent if it lands as a counter hit, so be on the lookout for when to use it effectively. And they have done a typo here. I will screenshot that and send that to the bug report people. They have missed some spaces there. If it is a single word, and it shouldn't be. The opponent normally has a 50% chance of grapple breaking out of a titanic struggle. However, Prometheus's flame during... Here, we're up here. During Divine Force and Titanic Struggle, A+B is a powerful Holy Smite throw that cannot be escaped. Whoa, it's a throw that cannot be escaped. That is crazy powerful. Because the AI will escape everything on Legendary. It's almost certain. They've patched it to make them do it less, but it's still pretty certain they'll break a throw. Which I guess they call escape in this game. I wonder if there's a difference in that, I'm not sure. It too has a downside though, which is that you also take damage. Oh, she has a move that you also take damage with? That's crazy. I don't remember that before. Her swords did that, but the character didn't. Yeah, and I had every one of her moveset in SoulCalibur 4. And how you learn that is you just do, you just go through her moveset, whatever sticks. Then the next day, you just do one thing. And then the day after that, you review what you did the day before and do the next thing. And you just keep doing that until you've memorized the move and no longer feel like you need to review it. And if you're in the game for the long haul, over the years, like I've been for decades now, because this is pretty much the only fighting game I play, and just one of my favorite games, SoulCalibur series is. Yeah, you will learn the move, you will. Me personally, it was difficult for me to learn multiple characters, which was pretty useful in SoulCalibur 4 to know multiple characters. In SoulCalibur 2, my Cassandra was so good, I only needed her. Even in the 3v3 ones. Because yeah, I would do a no-hit max difficulty clear of that. It took like an hour and a half, I think was my best time to do that. But yeah, that game, SoulCalibur 2 is just masterfully made if you're Cassandra. It's a pretty fair game, but Cassandra may have, I don't know. I didn't play the other people that much, but I fought the AI, and they could all be pretty deadly. Okay, now back to the 3 hero smite moves. Cornus is Bald. During Divine Force, you go toward opponent diagonal down AB. Helios Burn during Divine Force down AB. The Breath of Enamoy during Divine Force away from the opponent down AB are limited diagonal down AB. Are limited in their range. As such, you need to consider carefully when to use them, such as when you are mounting an offensive against a downed opponent after landing a combo. Shifting to Divine Force. In order to shift to Divine Force, you need to land certain attacks, such as Centaur Smash toward opponent AB and Meteor Shower toward opponent away from opponent. Then you do AG. and G is guard. That'll be the down one if you have a controller. That'll be the bottommost right input button on the top face of the controller. After evading an opponent's vertical attack at a distance with an 8-way run, you can try using a Stardust Strike, which is towards your opponent and then hold towards your opponent, or a diagonal down toward them or diagonal up with a double input in each one of them. So it's a do it once and hold it, do it once and hold it, and both diagonal down toward them and diagonal up toward them. And then plus AB. So it's a movement, hold the movement, then AB. Once it hits, press, oh wow, once it hits, press away at the right timing to perform the follow-up attack and switch over to Divine Force. That is it used to be very hard to do in SoulCalibur 6. I figured it out as Sophia in the other games, which you could stab and then flame your attack in the pullout. I haven't gotten that back in this game, so they may have shifted the timing, or I'm just a bit rusty. But we will need to master it as Cassandra. And it will probably be necessary in Legendary Difficult, and of course, player versus player environment. But we're just focusing on the AI for now. When you manage to predict your opponent's attack correctly, you can use the opportunity to shift to Divine Force. The timing is tough, but you can land Holy Smite if you manage to land such moves as Holy Purification, which is away A, which deflects middle and high horizontal attacks. Oh, this is saying what guard impact. They're saying deflect here, but I believe I guess that's what they call a weaker guard impact. Deflects middle and high horizontal attacks. Destined Greatness, away B, which deflects middle and high vertical attacks. And Angel Step, here's the thing I've been talking about. Angel Step, it's down, diagonal towards, then fully towards your opponent. It's like your bread and butter stance to go into. At least for the other games. It probably still is for this one, because generally when you're in Angel Step, you can just win normal. Just doing Angel Step moves generally. There's a couple AI in this game that are a little smarter, like Raphael and Valdo, and a Nightmare can generally always get crazy sometimes. But those AI, you may have to vary it, but you can probably just keep spamming it and just win. You just may have to change your spam speed. Okay, and then which parries high attacks. So just being an Angel Step parries high attacks now? If I understood that right? That is insane. That doesn't make sense, because before you just dodge. Maybe I'm not understanding that properly. But, no, this is just saying Angel Step parries high attacks. It's just a combination of that. Wow, that is insanely powerful. Because I remember just being completely... Well, you could dodge under the high attack? So maybe they're saying parry as in misses, but parry generally involves a deflection of it away from you. That's interesting. Oh, these aren't too long. Let's just do this all in one video. Shield Supernova. This is going to be a long video, but I might break it up once I figure out how to do that. Properties. I'm going to just upload this one big thing. Properties. A critical edge that balances attack with reach. Launch it during an air combo or when your opponent misses an attack. Tips. And critical edge will be holding right trigger default. I assume it's the same on Xbox. Actually, it definitely is the same on Xbox because I emulate a controller. I believe well, I guess it's called R2 on PlayStation. Dollars for right. Yeah. On a regular PlayStation or 360 controller. I'm not sure the names of that, Jenks. I didn't have that console. I built this computer, and thanks to Steam, I can play SoulCalibur on a computer now. Freaking awesome. Unreal Engine 4. So cool. I'm learning how to code it. It's pretty cool. That SoulCalibur is Unreal Engine 4 now. Okay, now tips for when Critical Edge's tips. That's this one right here. Second thing they're telling us here. Heaven Lift. Down, B. Oh, I love this move. It's diagonal toward opponent B. Is useful for starting a combo, but also consumes guard stamina. Be Be sure to use it wisely. Whoa, I did not remember it consuming guard stamina before. Maybe it did, but that's crazy. Shield Big Bang. Properties. A critical edge launch. Wait. It's kind of saying that we may have multiple supers. We may have multiple critical edges, which most games call supers. That's why I'd use that, but it's critical edge. I'll have to probably work on my terminology to keep it just a SoulCalibur terminology. But yeah, I watched gameplay of the other games, so yeah, I could call them supers. Just like SoulCalibur never had this stuff before. The critical edge was like a guard break thing before, but now they use it in terms of a super. Completely different terminology if you come from 4. It was in 5, but I didn't care much for 5. 5 was like, they changed so much and made it a more stiff game. 6 is still kind of stiff, but it's better. It feels more like 2. Anyway, back on track. Properties. A critical edge launched during Divine Force. Because it is a holy smite move, it will both deal damage more than Shield Supernova and also replenish your guard stamina. Interesting. You replenish your guard stamina with one of your critical edges. And it's also implying that I can do because generally in this, at least for Taki, the critical edge screen is saying a way to set up your critical edge. And I believe all aerial launchers for every character that I played so far, because I'm clearing them to get their soul to 100% the game. But it's diagonal down B, so that's generally an aerial launcher for every character. So I think it's saying here that we can do an aerial launcher and do an aerial combo with our super. But I don't do that much generally. As Taki, I definitely don't do it, because her super's a little slower. You can still do it. But it deals less damage with the combo. I generally like the full straight up stuff and counterattack damage with the combo. And now here's soul charging. That's different in SoulCalibur 6 from the other ones. It can blow the opponent away and give you a new move set. It's interesting. I don't use it a whole lot, but they're still tweaking it to be good. Maybe it'll be a really good asset for Cassandra. Powerful sword attacks infused with lightning. While soul charged, your sword generates lightning, allowing for special attacks. These attacks are great for destroying your opponent's defense. Woo! That is crazy. And include the powerful low attack, Cherub Sword. While soul charged, away diagonal down away from your opponent. Kick B. Well, that's a rare move, a kick B. It's a kick vertical. It can only be done while soul charged. Hopefully that does a lot of damage. The long-reaching Cherub Orbit while soul charged, which I need to figure out the name of this because it's really hard to say. But it's the reverse angel step. It's the down, diagonal. Oh, it's down, diagonal down away, and then back away. A, and the break attack Cherub Fall while soul charged, which is a down, diagonal down, and then away, A, B, A plus B. So it's just A plus B there. Using Holy Smite. And also, if you are blind, generally a lot of these moves, they'll be saying things, and you'll be hearing certain sounds during them, because I actually, even as someone who can see, I do wear glasses, but I am someone who can see. For Taki's moves, I had to hear for some of her for some of her moves to actually properly do the input for them. And the game is exceptionally well made to actually factor that into the game. And actually use hearing and sound effects as a tool to better your experience for a legendary type level or top tier level play in the game. For people who have already beaten it on normal and just love the challenge of SoulCalibur games like I do, because they're basically a 3D puzzle. You're just trying to figure out what move to beat what. Like if you're actually sword fighting in real life. Although I've never actually fought, but I've sparred. While soul charged, which is also why my voice is a bit nasally, because I took a sword to the nose, a thrown sword to the nose. And I have a higher than normal pain tolerance, which I wasn't aware of, so I didn't know my nose was actually broken when it most probably was. It just bled a bit and then it stopped, but I guess that's all a broken nose does. But anyway, that's off topic and could be repaired with surgery if I ever cared to do so. While soul charged, you will gain the benefit effects of Divine Force until the end of the round, regardless of whether your soul charge runs out, and can use Holy Smite while the soul charge is still active. This allows you to use Holy Smite without having to land a certain attack. However, be warned that doing so will reduce your remaining soul charge time significantly. Okay, this is huge. I have not really played a character, or at least been at a level that I had to play a character that actually reduces their soul charge time. I saw the AI like Gerald do it when I was fighting him. Or Gerald. Gerald or Gerald. I don't know, I haven't played the game. I think it's spelled Gerald, but I don't know, I just call him Gerald. I don't know. I don't know the language. But that's cool. That's really cool. Hopefully this will, I mean, Cassandra has it, but SoulCalibur 5 had supers as well that would take like partial meter and then full meter, and the partial ones, at least for my level of play, which is not very high, it was just mediocre for that game because I didn't have Cassandra, so I basically had nothing. I should have played Taki, but I was so mad that the Taki style Natsu, but I was so annoyed and mad that Taki wasn't actually in the game, I just didn't even want to touch Natsu, but I probably would have greatly enjoyed, or just moderately enjoyed SoulCalibur 5 if I had played Natsu, because I played this game as Taki, and it was like I was already there in SoulCalibur 4, like I was still almost just as good. And then I realized in this game, Taki's even better for how I would play her. So I was like, wow, dang. But none of that matters now, because I have Cassandra. Even if my Taki's better right now than Cassandra, I will get my Cassandra up to par. It's only a matter of time. And I have not even anywhere come near to mastering all of Taki's moves. I just learned the moves that I could use to clear out Legendary. That's all I've learned. Arcade. Follow up with A. Now here's her reversal edge. This is one of the new systems. I've not seen what Cassandra's reversal edges look like. I mean, maybe they're shown in the trailer. I don't recall seeing them in the trailer for her. So this is a following up with an A. Swing your shield forcefully or a horizontal attack. You'll be left wide open if the opponent guards the move, which almost always happens. That's why I did not use these, because it was time attacking. But I will just read this and bear with it. It's a mostly useless system in the game for now, but perhaps Cassandra's is better. They are improving it. So let's see. But performing it with a hold A, because yeah, all reversal edges you can hold. Although this is just saying A, so. Oh, they're talking about when I'm in the selector, I think, of the different inputs, when you're actually in the match-em. Not when you're actually doing the right bumper. 1. Will enable you to, which I only have 1 and 2 because it's a PS3 controller, of course. Will enable you to shift to Divine Force if the moves connect, a Gen 1 controller. Follow up with a B. Perform a damaging vertical attack that knocks the opponent. Yeah, this is saying what happens in the mix-up. So when you win, this is only happens when you win the engagement of the reversal edge system, which is a more complicated 6th version of rock, paper, scissors. Yeah, so, okay, so let's just start off with that. So the follow-up with B. Perform a damaging vertical attack that knocks the opponent down, leaving them open to more damage. Perfect for use against the opponent, expecting to follow up with an A or B. So, yeah, it's basically saying B beats A or K. Which is not entirely true. So that's really interesting. Because this rock, paper, scissors, you will not always beat. B will lose to A or K. I believe B beats A beats K, I'm not entirely sure. We can do another thing, it's been a while. Because like I generally just spam A and I'll win against the A, even on Legendary, like 80 to 90% of the time, just doing A, as Taki. I mean, some people will, like I noticed Amy will sometimes beat my A with whatever beats A. But it's interesting. Yeah, I haven't fully, this game has so much new stuff, I haven't fully covering the reversal edge. This is not entirely needed, but the gold A, I'm probably going to need to have all this memorized. So I got to rebrush. I've only been playing occasionally with my Taki just to keep her sharp, but I've been playing like every single day. but I try to play at least once a week. But with Cassandra, I'm going to try to do my everyday week to learn it. Even if it's just a little bit for one move, just put in the time and you will get the reward. If you want to be good at this game, top level, at that level. Unleash a mighty kick that sends your opponent flying far. Use it to push your opponent to the edge of the ring with a single blow, but be careful. If your opponent blocks, you'll be open to a counterattack. Make it sound like you can... I guess guarding is always an input you can do in this reversal edge system. That may just be wise to do that if you're fighting Cassandra then. That's interesting, but you will eat guard, like, massive damage to your guard if you do that. And that's the combat lessons for Cassandra Alexandra. It was long. I may break this up into multiple parts, or I may just put it as one big thing for everyone to sit back and enjoy. But thank you for taking your time of the day to watch this video, and may your tale eternally be retold.